So a while back, BornInAsphodelMeadow asked me a bunch of questions. I did one of those, Q&A vids, and I'm like, ask me questions. And then it turned out that people asked so many questions, they were really hard to answer them all, especially because I used to be doing my videos in a very different style that required a lot of work. I'd have to find pictures that would actually have something to do with what I was talking about, and then I'd have to compile those together in the editing software. It was a pain in the butt. But my videos have started taking on a different style, and it's much easier to make these things. And so now I'm going to actually answer his questions, which I should have done a long time ago. My apologies. But anyway, yeah, so let's get to BornInAsphodelMeadow's questions. Number 1. When did you realize you were a lesbian? What changed for you when you did? Well, I really never did realize. There was never this moment of revelation. I mean, I was raised by hippies, by fairly liberal left-wing hippies, and so there was never like this big mystery or taboo about any of this stuff. There was a little in school, but not a lot. So it was just sort of a gradual thing. It was like, I'm attracted to her, and I'm attracted to her, and I'm not attracted to him. Guess I'm attracted to girls. No big deal. Whatever. And there's a name for that. It's called being a lesbian. Oh, I had no idea. It was just like that. I don't know. It was very gradual. Why did you pick up animation? Well, I knew I wanted to tell stories, and I knew I wanted to do sci-fi. And I tried to write prose, and I couldn't stick with it. I was okay at writing, but I couldn't stick with it. I tried to be a hand-drawn artist. That didn't work so well. I mean, I'm all right. But, animation was the only thing I seemed to have a talent for. So I picked it up, and there you go. The rest is history. If you could meet and have a conversation with any one person on the planet today, who would it be and why? Probably George Lucas. I'm a big honkin' Star Wars fan, as you'll find out later. So, it would be him. I'd want to have a chat with that fellow. When did you become an atheist, and what happened there? Well, the truth is that, a lot like the lesbianism, it came on kind of gradually. My dad tried a lot of religions under the sun while I was a kid, and my mom's really indifferent to the fact that she's Jewish, so I never really grew up with religion. I tried various forms of spirituality, and none of it ever really worked for me, so eventually I was just like, I guess I'm an atheist. Who knew? So, how did you dream up Rational Station? Well, I knew I wanted to be on YouTube, and I knew I wanted to do vids about atheism, but I didn't want to be like everybody else, and so I thought that I needed a hook or something to draw people in, some way to be different, to stand out in the crowd. And I said, well, I'm an animator, let's animate something. And I'm a sci-fi fan, so let's set it in space. Maybe there's a space station out there somewhere where people go to learn. Perhaps a station where they go to learn rational thinking, a rational station. And the rest was pretty much history. I knew I needed a character, so I came up with Sandra. And it just sort of gelled from there. What does a typical day for you include? Not a lot, actually. I mean, there's some job searching in there, obviously, because I've been unemployed for a while. I might come up with an idea for a YouTube vid, and I'll make that. I hang out with friends. I might go to martial arts class. I've been sick for a while, so I haven't actually gone to martial arts class, but, that's really what my day is like, is just looking for work and, otherwise just farting around. Am I public with my sexuality and atheism? Probably to the point of really annoying people, actually. Most of my friends are atheists. They're not rabid and screaming atheists like me, but they are atheists. The lesbian thing, I don't make a huge deal about it, but people do tend to treat me like the sort of mascot token dyke, kicking around. That's just sort of how they seem to think of me. Most of my friends are bisexual, actually, but generally straight-leaning. So that's kind of what that's like. Again, it's not a huge deal. I hang out with folks who just don't really give a shit. Star Trek or Star Wars? Definitely Star Wars. Don't get me wrong, I like the new Star Trek, and I love the idea behind Star Trek. In fact, my webcomic that I'm doing right now is basically Star Trek done my style. You know, it's like, okay, let's put my money where my mouth is. Let's do Star Trek in the way I'd want to see Star Trek. And that's kind of what The Adventures of Kynira Baxter is. But there's definitely a lot of Star Wars mixed in there because I love Star Wars. I grew up in the era of Star Wars. You have to understand, I was a year and a half when Star Wars came out, and I must have imprinted on it or something. It was just, I lived, ate, and breathed Star Wars. You've probably seen the Rebel Alliance tattoo I've got. I'm sure I've put that in a vid. So, yeah, definitely Star Wars. Kirk or Picard? Well, if we're talking the new Star Trek, definitely that Kirk. But if we're talking Shatner, fuck Shatner, I'd rather see Picard. What's your opinion on vegetarianism? Well, my dad's a vegetarian, so I'm actually pretty okay with it. I grew up around it, but I'm definitely a meat eater. I just like the taste of meat too much. I don't know, I couldn't live on just vegetables. I couldn't do it. What's your opinion on drugs, legalization, personal use, etc.? Well, I've tried a few things, and turns out I'm really allergic to pot, by the way. And, you know, I think they're pretty all right. I think people should be free to do whatever they want with their own body. I mean, yes, that means a lot of people are going to fuck themselves up, but at the same time, it's their choice and should be. I don't like that they legislate morality by keeping us from these substances. I don't like that at all. What is a law that exists that you think should be removed? I think you should be allowed to take that tag off the mattress. I'm just saying. Yeah. Anyway, what is a law that doesn't exist that you think should? I think it should be a capital offense to be William Shatner. Let's see. Where do you like to travel? If you do, I like to go sunny places. I mean, I went to Waikiki last year, and that was amazing. I'm probably going to go to Florida this year, within the next month or so. It's, you know, definitely I prefer to go somewhere nice and warm, lie in the sun, because I live in Seattle. Okay, we don't get a lot of sun here. So that's definitely, yeah. All right, where am I here? Who's your favorite YouTuber? How am I supposed to decide that? There's so many factors. The person who's most thoughtful, the person I agree with most, the person who's most attractive, the person whose voice I like best, the person whose video editing skills kick ass. I mean, you know, there is no one person where all of that converges. I could give you a list of most of my favorite YouTubers, but there's no way to pick just one. Not possible. Next question is knock knock. Obviously the answer is who's there, whoopee-doo. Would you rather be attractive or smart? I would rather be smart because, you know, being unattractive is fixable. And, you know, if you're smart, you can get enough money so that you can fix it, among other things. So I would definitely pick smart. Have any other hobbies besides animation? Well, let's see, I've engaged in a number of them. I mean, I've done role-playing games, tabletop, dice hucking, all of that. I've done, let's see, ultimate frisbee, laser tag. I was a video gamer for a good long time, you know, but, yeah, obviously a few. Is my curiosity annoying? No, not really. Besides, I did ask for it, didn't I? Can we see your face in your answer vid? Well, you have your answer to that, don't ya? Want to be friends? At this point, I think we kind of already are. Granted, you asked that when we first met. I had, what, 137 subs when this video came out? Yeah, so, sure, why not? Let's be friends. Coke or Pepsi? Pepsi. Definitely Pepsi. I'm what's known as a super taster. I can taste bitterness and things other people can't, and Coke is really dry, not as sweet as Pepsi, and I prefer sweet, and I don't really care for dry, so definitely give me Pepsi. Plus, as the founding member of the Vanilla Awareness Society, I highly approved of Pepsi Vanilla when it existed. It doesn't anymore. Oh my god, that stuff was good, and they used real vanilla in it. It wasn't vanillin. So, yeah. Anyway, that was the last of your questions. Sorry it took me so long to get to them, but, you know, better late than never, huh? Who knows, maybe I'll do another Ask Me Questions video at some point, especially since it's easier to answer them now. Ta-ta! Later!